Who knows who's going to turn up here? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Broiler Chicken Show. It's time to get things started. Actually, I should probably have my old 1980s video tutorials. I don't know whether you guys remember that. I actually came up with a music score so we wouldn't get into trouble with YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And I used to play that for all of my old videos that I do, and I think actually I even still have them a bit on the site, because for the level 1 program we give it to you. So let's see if I can find that here for you. We'll at least have it playing in the background as we get going here. Let's see. Give me a second. Give me a second. I know I got it in here. I think you guys had to go through the. Let's see if it's over here. There it is. So we should play this every time we start a video. You guys, any of you ever listened to this before? Woo, ladies! That was, I suppose we should probably show you. That was this video series. So we won't get into trouble with YouTube if we do this music score at the beginning of our videos. Anyway, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Broiler Chicken Show. And as you can see, very busy on the site. Lots of interaction with site members. And, you know, this is our weekend edition of the daily brief video that we do for the site, but I'm don't really have an agenda here. If anything, this is a great opportunity on the weekend. Things are a little bit slower. You know, I even put in the title, this is what was the title that I said, like the broiler chickens and everything crypto. So, you know, by all means, if you want to ask questions, if you have a coin that you're interested, we put, oh, we can see that it's live. So I'll throw that web page in the chat room. Anybody wants to watch from there. And I do see there are a few people. Oh, Ian's over here. Hey, and Ian. Geez, Ian is just turning into a trading monster. This guy's just a machine. We set up a Telegram group for the various different school programs. And so all the level 1ers, I really like to create like sort of this little fraternity kind of atmosphere. So it was really cool to watch a couple of the more advanced level 1ers talking about charts and exchanging ideas. And I thought it was really cool because this is a coin that we've been following for quite some time on the site. And one of our level 1ers from last term was really interested in this coin a while ago and sort of brought it to our attention, this SLR. And so it was really cool this morning as I saw they were chatting away in their level 1 Telegram group, and they were, hey, this SLR is starting to look really interesting again. And just a shout out to you guys. I know you, Ian, I can see you watching the video. Come and share that wisdom with the regular site members too in the lounge, right? And Rob, I think that's Bobo Rob. I'm not totally positive. It might be a different Rob. But, you know, please feel free to share this great knowledge and wisdom that you guys are accumulating in the lounge as well. Everybody would like to. We do. Okay, thank you, Ian. Awesome. And I love this. This is the whole reason why I'm doing this, guys, is I love this communal, this we're all working together to get ahead. And 1 + 1 = 3, all that kind of fun stuff. Absolutely love it. So I'm so proud of you guys. You're just the shit. So way to go. Cool to see we got Stuart here. Hey, buddy. Our master PHP programmer. And actually, Nico and I were chatting in the lounge yesterday. He wants to get working on our machine learning fundamental screener. So I think it's about time we pony up and pay for the fundamental screening data for you, Seward. Our site members are demanding it. And so, you know, and I even, yeah, well, so there you go. We got the green light. And I even was chatting with him yesterday. I was like, well, just give me the screening tool that you want. And we've got like Mr. Programmer here, and he loves machine learning. He totally is on top of it. So let's rock and roll. So if anything, Stuart, I just happened to see you. Maybe you know, reach out to Nico, and you know, if you want to go ahead with the fundamental data, starting to price that out and what it's going to cost us, I'm more than ready, willing, and able to step up to the plate on that. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw Stuart working away. He's sort of fighting with Bitterix, altcoin data, and Polo data, and trying to get them to sort of cooperate. I don't know, maybe, Stuart, you could even just give the community, hey, there's Nico himself, speak of the devil. So, Nico, go back and watch that later, and what I just mentioned to Stuart, but I think the two of you should start talking seriously about those machine learning and fundamental screening ideas that you and I were talking about yesterday. If that's the same Nico, I mean, we have so many different people popping in and out of the site. Yeah, okay, cool, awesome. So please, the two of you connect. I think you two could build some pretty powerful stuff together. Totally, and Stuart understands the nitty-gritty of how all this stuff has to interact. So in that regard, I think you two, you can exchange some really good stuff together. Okay, so actually, I'm really pleased that we did this Broiler Chicken show just for that simple fact. Yay! Woo! Again, more 1 + 1 = 3. I love it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't know what I'm showing you on the site. I guess I'm showing you this SLR. It's an interesting idea, definitely nibble worthy. Is it pound the table? Oh, we got to load up here. And it looks like volume impetus. Somebody's trying to hop off here. But definitely nibble worthy. In fact, I think I'm long from like 7,400 or something in here. That's where my initial purchase was. I did really like this bottoming action here, but you can see that they kind of busted that up here with these bars here. So, and also too, we have to understand that, you know, this is a proxy on the solar sort of part of the market. Energy of late really hasn't been overly happy. If anything, you know, if you want to go to the stock market and get it sort of stock market proxies, we should probably be looking at things like First Solar, you know, just to sort of get a feeling for what like the industry's thinking right now. So let's see actually if those two charts even look even remotely similar. FSLR, I like the big solar stock. So he's trying to clean himself up. Yeah, I can see similar sort of, you know, bottoming type pattern. If anything, this looks a little dangerous here for First Solar. That might have corresponded with the bottom that we saw on that little altcoin. So I think we've done that recently. Yeah, February, March, same sort of thing. Not the most bullish of chart, but definitely interesting trade location. I see somebody has joined us but decided to leave their microphone on. Probably a good idea if you do join these Hangouts to just to throw yourself on mute, and then that way, I think it's coming from somebody called Living. Interesting name. Hello, Living. Oh, not in here anymore. Bye, Living. All right. Not a bad idea. We probably should take a look at good old Bitcoin, just sort of do a 5-minute blurb on that. Somebody in the lounge earlier today was asking me, Brian, you know, I see a lot of GAN angles on charts lately. Can you please do a tutorial on that? Please understand if you are, was short-lived, I guess. Yeah. Please understand this is a level 2 core concept, these GAN angles and GAN studies. There's a whole bunch of nuances and intricacies about them. So I don't really think it's a good idea for people right out of the gate to be using GAN too much. You know, talk to any current level 2er right now about the fun of drawing correct GAN angles. So I'm not going to really go into too much like teaching, okay, this is how you do a GAN study. It'd just take too much time. But nonetheless, I think there was some really important information. This is a GAN angle off of the original bottom in Bitcoin going back to the original lows here. And I definitely think that this the market is playing off of this 45-degree angle right now. And what I found really interesting is if we drew a trend line off of just these market structure lows, what a coincidence, that's just a nice 45-degree angle. So I created sort of this kind of like ranging thesis, and I see that this is seems to be playing out fairly well, in that it appears that below this 45-degree angle and back down into the old range, you know, there was the ETF event. I think that that's a trading range unto itself. I think that above the 45-degree angle, especially if we look at profile, you can really see that the market is building out a trading range up top here. And the irony of Bitcoin is that regardless of all the humming and hawing, you could actually make an argument that price really hasn't done anything now for well over a month. I mean, we're now approaching almost like a month and a half, where to all intents and purposes, price has basically just gone sideways, which is good because that's what we need. You can't have markets constantly going one direction. It just doesn't work. At some point, the rubber band has to snap back, and it's just healthy, it's natural, it's normal. So ironically enough, even though this has been extremely painful, and the range is very wide. I mean, in essence, this is a 50% haircut. Well, not 50%, but, you know, 33% haircut. Just this trading range itself. But I actually think what's going on here is very healthy. And what's really interesting about this, guys, is, you know, especially all my students, you know, my thesis about fear cycles and greed cycles. We're heading into basically the well, let's hope for our sake the rubber doesn't break. But the irony of it all is we'll know exactly when this thing breaks. There are actually a lot of tools that we talk about on the site and stuff to tell us exactly when the next recession is going to happen. So I don't think we have to worry about the market breaking. I think if anything, this is just normal, healthy, technical cleanup. But, you know, you could actually make the argument right now that if we do consolidate here and we resolve bullishly, it's painting that sort of $4,000 or $5,000 target for down the road. I don't know whether we have to get through August. Here's our big event date, right? And I don't even know what, you know, you know, is anybody maybe post in the lounge? Anybody have the statistics of which is it hard fork, is it soft fork, or what are the percentage probabilities? Has SegWit been accepted and all that kind of nonsense? But it'd be interesting to watch the debate go on. I think basically we're just going to bang in this trading range. We might have some sort of capitulationary sort of move ultimately into this event. I am seeing a lot of sort of talk in the rooms and stuff about how people are like, I just don't know, I don't want to own Bitcoins on this date. So we might get some sort of flush into that, come back down, fill in this. In fact, this is a term that I have to add to our TRI isms document. But you can definitely see that there's a hole in the profile here. My hunch is, you know, there's an old saying that the market likes to come down and tag value high and then bounce off it. And this is what we call our MUOC concept. And also, too, I think and I have it on other charts, I think this is actually a natural fib level. I'm not quite sure why the fibs aren't drawn here. Let's redraw that. Yeah, so you can see that 50% level and 38.2 are basically in that area. This is a nice tail right in here that could be eaten. There's some juicy tails here. There's some unfinished business here. That wouldn't surprise me if that has to get cleaned up. And as I sort of have our little sort of, you know, where would I expect the market to trough, I have this sort of line drawn on here. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking right now. But the irony, like I said a few minutes ago, is really we haven't really gone anywhere. We're just going sideways. And of course, it's probably driving a lot of new people to crypto a little bit crazy right now. That's sort of the job of the market. For our hedging, just, the audience should be aware. We, got awfully Bitcoin heavy up top here, so we let some coins go. Of these coins that I let go, and I could probably sell some more too if we start challenging these highs, I've started to sprinkle our bids back in against these lows. Remember, we sort of talked a moment ago about on this chart, right, that MUOC. Is there anybody who's been talking about $2,000 as kind of an important level recently? That Goldman Sachs guy, he was sort of saying that, I just find it really hard to believe that Bitcoin's really going to move in earnest below $2,000. On the Tether, I've gone and just simply thrown a bunch of stink bids down. This is sitting right around 1900. Again, sort of thinking, can we get some to sort of dip into, eat these tails? I'll be more than happy to buy my coins out. And then if we really, poop the bed kind of idea, I've got some stink bids working down off the line in the sand here if this has to be a shark setup. So, I'm prepared for any eventuality here. And of course, we've got tons and tons of crypto on the books. So if Bitcoin wants to bottom here and take off, in recent videos, I even talked about, if we start getting 3 solid lows here, I could actually even start justifying hunting bot long setups to play the next move higher. I'm sort of like, not necessarily this big AB equals CD, and I haven't really done the levels yet, but I am thinking, if we start consolidating in here, traders got to trade. I don't know what the setup's going to look like. I have no idea, but if 3 lows start to come in and we start getting the setups to come in off the 25 level on the bot, then hey, I got to start paying attention. And if the bot's in my trading plan, I got to take the trade, right? I think over the short term, we actually have a bunch of bearish bots working. And I think, interestingly enough, I think the bots that set up the cleanest were off of the Asian cash markets, which I find fascinating. For site members, pop on over to the TUS page and watch the videos on the bot if you need to understand how this trading model works. In essence, all this trade really was just a loss of value low here. And if anything, what's probably going to happen is the market's going to come back. It's going to try and get back into value. If it can get back into value and accept back into value, then, this is where our 80% rule kicks in. 80% of the time, the market's likely to travel back up and tag value high. So it doesn't surprise me, according to the bot rules, we hit move stop to scratch. It doesn't surprise me that if the market comes back up to the bot entry, you can see the double top, triple top, right? The trade's set up pretty darn well. But if the trade does come back to scratch, I think bot traders who took this trade are probably best served just hop off at scratch and just let the dust settle. Because as I said, 80% rule might kick in. If we accept into value, then we actually need to be looking for the market to rally back up top here. And the reason why I didn't take the trade on the site was because these were setting up in the cash markets. If we go over to things like the BitMEX, for example, here's that same bot setup, and it just didn't set up at all. And I hate when the markets do this, right? It frustrates you hell. You want to take the trade, but, and we've talked about this lots, guys, how do you actually measure your value as a trader? Is it, oh, I made more money than this other guy on Twitter today, and look, I got a bigger cock than him? Is that how you actually measure if you're a good trader or not? No, not in my opinion. In my opinion, the way you measure whether you're a good trader or not is, do you actually do what you said you're going to do? The bot setup says I got to have 3 highs to work with here. So it didn't set up for me, couldn't take the trade. And it's interesting how it's ratcheting back here. And I put this little, notation right on this trend line. If, what we see happening in OKCoin happens, then it would make sense for this market to rally right back up into this topping range here. And then maybe if I'm lucky and I just got to be patient, disciplined, don't, just follow the plan, If I can get a nice little structural setup above the 25 level, then hey, maybe I got something I can work with. But these markets just didn't set anything up for me at all. And, you know, hindsight's 2020. I look back and go, geez, I'm glad I didn't take the trade. You know, if anything, this is a great testament that I'm just following my trading plan. All the site members should know what the bot looks like, and Brian trading the bot. In fact, we had a great little bot set up on the PIVX. Any of you, geez, we got a lot of people in the room here. Did any of you guys take the PIVX bot? That was a, let's see if we can just show you that. That was a great little trade. Where are we here? I think I did that. I'm trying to catch up on the damn blog. Oh, man. It's tough for me, I'll tell you. But I think I'm getting caught up here. Yeah, so here's an example of a bot that basically came to fruition. You can see the levels set up. You can see the nice structural lows, 1, 2, 3. You can see the setup off the 25 level, nice and clean. And we sat in this trade for like a week or two. You guys remember? Like day after day, oh, there's nothing going on here. Oh, this is so boring, 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 boring. And then all of a sudden, boom, she just exploded higher into our target. That's sort of the measure of a trader. Book your profit. Next bus in 10 minutes, right? Did I do what I said I was going to do? I did. Congratulations. Pat on the back. Nice journal entry. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Nice role model for students. Next bus in 10 minutes. So the point here for Bitcoin is I just didn't get anything set up. It just didn't cooperate with my setup. So as a result, didn't take the trade. And I did have some people on this morning coming on in a bit of a panic, seeing the market rallying here. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Oh, hey, is the market going face rip straight up? And really, you know, my comment and sort of what I wanted to talk about in this Broiler Chicken show was just simply, I'm still thinking that we're in correction mode. I don't have any reason, you know, indicator-wise for me to change that perception. I am very curious, and I'll be watching this closely to see whether our very simple relative strength indicator on the daily charts can actually put in a nice little W here off of the 50 line. There is a pretty big battle going on here, running like a broiler chicken without a head. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm a broiler chicken without a trade right now. That's what I am. But you know, we had this nasty bearish divergence developing in this relative strength index that at the very least, right, and this is my message to the public, and I don't know whether they listen to me or not. I get myself into a lot of trouble when I try and convey messages to the public, but I just try my best. And sometimes Brian sticks his foot in his mouth. Anyway, the bottom line here is there was a lot of anecdotal messages, sort of, you know, writing on the walls that this market wasn't happy. And that it, at the very least, it just needed some time to clean itself up. And I think that's what we're going through. Now, this is a great illustration that just sometimes when the market needs to clean itself up, it doesn't necessarily translate in the market collapsing. And, you know, all the Bitcoin enthusiasts are going, phew, I really don't want to see Bitcoin have to go back down to 1,200 bucks. It doesn't have to do that. In fact, if anything, this is a really good lesson of good old Mr. Burchett and the first stop target in the 38.2. We really can't make any conclusions about the health of this trend until Mr. 38.2 has been resolved. And you just might find, all you Bitcoin bears, you might just find that we've gone through the cleanup process. We've made it to the other side. The momentum indicators now start turning back up. And like I said, there may just be a bot setup that's trying to fire that's going to take us up into the 4,000 plus area. I suppose the good part about this is at least the cleanup is nice and orderly. I have seen in previous years, sometimes it can get absolutely chaotic. I remember back in early 2014, Bitcoin was sitting $600, $700, $800, and in an instant, the price dropped to $100 a coin, just like that. And people were just freaking out. I suppose we could argue that's kind of what happened with Ethereum the other day, eh? And actually, this is another sort of, this is a good sort of segue. You know, I've been putting out tweets and stuff onto the public, just suggesting at the very least that, you know, if we look at the daily chart on something like this, we're going through the very normal, natural process of cleaning up a ridiculous over-exuberance. Our job isn't necessarily to predict. I absolutely guarantee the market will go to this level. But if you have setups that suggest shorting opportunities and you're going to use this as a targeting objective, that's fine. Often what I like to do is I just like to throw levels and ideas on the chart just to give me sort of, you know, targeting areas. You know, the irony of it all off of this, just this single wick here, and all I did was I measured this reload zone off of the high of this wick back down to the tail of this tail right here. Can everybody see the beautiful ME type action that developed in this box here? It's quite shocking, really, how well telegraphed that was. I think Nico was pointing out that he's quite an enthusiastic bear of Ethereum up top here. And really, you know, when we look at an image like this, it really shouldn't shock us what's happening here. This is actually very business as usual. Isn't that interesting how we stabbed right into Mountain Man level, and of course he got his fill and he's just laughing. In fact, we saw this on a coin recently, wasn't it? Was it Bella? Where it was just a Mountain Man to Mountain Man tag. Mountain Man's just playing ping pong with the market, having fun with the market. So I think, you know, it's helpful to drill down on charts like this to sort of give you a higher time frame perspective of sort of where the zones are. And I'm pleased that we're going through this process of just slowly cleaning this up. So, you know, while Bitcoin's going through its counter trend rally, is it going to, you know, validate bots and all that kind of stuff? What I was actually suggesting to site members is if you want to try and just see the really simple message, just try and find the M's and the W's. Hopefully, and, you know, if there's anybody watching this on YouTube, I have no idea if anybody's watching or not. But, you know, people in the public, right, this is just really simple stuff. That's a big old fat M right there. All right, any way you shake it. An M is an M is an M. So the bottom line here is the market, you know, regardless of whether you took the trade or not, the market was speaking very loudly to us. They're saying, hey, you know, I'm not happy. And then conversely, you know, after the thump, and of course you get a lot of, you know, FUD and all that kind of talk, and oh, Ethereum's going off the board and blah, 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 blah. Notice how the market put in this very large W. This is basically what we call market structure. Just sort of listening to the message of the market. I thought it was really interesting, you know, and like I said, I woke up this morning and people are like, oh my God, Brian, what's going to happen? Where are things going? And it was just, you know, it's really just the same stuff, just zoomed in a little bit more. If you want to get an idea of where the market's going, just simply hunt for M's and W's. Really well-defined M. Remember, that's our Mountain Man level right there, right? And so, you know, all site members, and probably if there's anybody watching on YouTube that's ever watched these Coinigy shows, all right, that's that guy right there. And you can literally see, can everybody see how the market put in a very nice, polite structure right off his level? I don't know, can anybody see that? So if you're day trading Ethereum, if you're trading Ethereum MEX forwards, I mean, this is gold. You could really simply put, just use 50% levels. This is what I often suggest newcomers to trading use as a targeting technique. We have an old saying in trading, the bulls make money, the bears make money, but the pigs, they get slaughtered. So if you use the 50% level as your targeting technique, it's not like you're saying, hey, I'm expecting the market to go to new lows, hey, you're greed, greed, greed. You're also not sort of, you know, leaving a bunch of money on the table. It's just sort of like a nice middle of the road level. And does it make sense? you know, WD GAN, look how the market just is oscillating off that 50% level. So you can even see that the market itself is trying desperately to hold on to that level there, right? So a really good example, and you know what I suggest to students is, and I don't really care what time frame you trade. I don't care, you know, about the amount of money that you're going to put into the market. Obviously, you're going to go through the risk-taking modules. And actually, just an FYI to any site members, I've included. We've had just an absolute flood of new basic site members, and this school is sold out well into 2018. It's ridiculous. I'm not even quite sure what to make out of all this, to be honest with you. So as sort of a way as to throw the silver site, and even the students that are like, well, Brian, I'll politely wait till 2016 to be a student of yours. And frankly, that just, it shocks me when people say that, but cool, awesome. I guess I must be doing something right here. But to sort of help you guys and the basic silver site members, I've added a few more sort of tools to the library. And all new site members, the absolute very first place you should go to is, I'm new, what should I do? So this is a little video that will just sort of walk you through all the different stuff that we have here on the site and what our basic plans are for site membership and participation and stuff going forward. And then the second, for especially new people to trading, I really need you to do this, is I'm new to trading, where should I begin? And in essence, this video is, watch this video after you watch the first one. But this video is going to give you just sort of a walkthrough, of course. We're going to first learn about what the heck a trader's life is all about and what you're actually getting into here. And then if you want to, you can actually read the course text ahead of the course if you want to. And if you want to, you can start building out the tools. And of course, all current silver site members and students, if you know, if for one reason or another you can't get on your school page, you should be able to, but there's no reason why you can't. All right, that's interesting. Thank you, Skype. It's interesting how Microsoft owns Skype now, eh? So they just sort of decide to butt in on these Google calls. I wonder if that's by accident. Anyway, everybody heard just a bling there. That was Skype reminding me that they still are alive. Okay, where was I? So I've added, and I just have a nice simple trade, sample trade journal, sample trading plan, sample spreadsheet. And we've even included a nice little isms here where we've started to build out our dictionary. So anybody who's watching this and is like, well, Brian, you forgot, oh, you forgot. Even this morning, I was like, oh, yeah, everybody's going to want to know about the POC. So I threw that in there. So if, you know, through the day, if you're like, oh, Brian, but what's this? So you could add that, then please let me know. I'd be more than happy to add all our crazy little isms. But the long and short of it here is, if you're new to the site, I would like you to pop over to the library. You got some videos to watch. They're about an hour or two. You got a bunch of tools and a bunch of stuff that you've got to get set up. And then, you know, once that's in place, then I think the best thing for you to do is to pop on over to the blog. And as I said in the introduction, I actually think it's a good idea to go back and watch the video like from a week ago. And then just slowly, in fact, maybe even start, if you're new to the site, start at the last broiler chicken show. And then work your way forward so you can kind of get a feel for where we're thinking the market's heading over the short term. You know, what are we doing in the market? What are we buying? What are we selling? That kind of stuff. So it sort of brings yourself up to speed. So that was a bunch of stuff that I've been working on over the weekend to try and help you understand a little bit better what you do. If you're just a simple site silver member and maybe you're just waiting for the school to start, we've given you a bunch of stuff to work with here. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Bitcoin. We talked a little bit about setups, talked a little bit about the site. Threw out an idea of that SLR, not a bad looking little coin to take nibbles on. I've been buying into this NAUT recently. I really like the weekly structure down here. You know, I know that the guy who runs this coin, there's definitely more rallies down the road for him. It's just a question of, what's his agenda. Probably the fact that this is a public video and the fact that people on the internet are going to see this, that probably tells me that the market makers are probably going to knock this thing back down, but we'll see what happens. Did a bunch of buying here. This is like the third or fourth car for us on this thing. We've traded Naut through all of these cycles, and it's treated us very, very well. And we also have some more bids working. So all you market makers for Naut, if you want to knock it down a bit more down into these levels, I'll be more than happy to be a buyer. So please go for it. Knock it back down, please. Let's see. Anything else I've been buying recently that maybe we should bring to the community's attention? There was a really good example yesterday of a fill, this DTB. I thought that was a really cool little trade. I'm, as I wrote up on the blog, I'm a little old ladying this for now. I don't know whether I'm ready to quote unquote pound the table. And the fact that this is a public announcement here means I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to knock it down lower once, the guys that are running this coin, and we need to understand this, guys. This is like, learning about capitalism 101. If they were going to bottom this thing in here and start to move it up, the fact that I'm talking about it and this is a public show actually is not going to be in our best interest, because then they're going to be like, oh crap, well, the public's going to come in, so maybe we should knock it down a little bit more. At the same time, though, I do like location here. There were some really interesting, levels that started to develop off of the lower time frames, and I definitely think this is, nibble worthy. You're not walking into a trap. You're not buying FOMO buying markets. This is just nice and polite. You can see, and probably nobody in the public is interested in this thing right now. You can definitely see the back and forth battle that's going on here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, these guys are in the video game business. So you can see that all they've done is they brought it back against these lows. And so whatever the story is around this video game launch that they're doing, that's probably what these bottoms are down in here. The smart money, they're long from here. Shilling it a bit to the public here, not a big surprise, bit of an M. And if anything, I like the idea of hunting these reload zones where, they've taken the fluff out of the market. Could we see some more back and forth through here? Sure. And as the story develops over time, I might just, slowly keep adding to this story. But it's not a bad looking coin, right? It's got 22 million out, so it's not too heavy. $15 million market caps, maybe a little bit heavy for my liking. But, could we see a double on this to a $30 million market cap and a test of these highs down the road? You see this big old honking wick up there. I think that's a pretty good shot that gets filled. At the same time, too, though, see if you can also sneak in some nice low purchases down here, because 2,000 to 4,000, that area, I think that's more likely as a nice doubling level. So as I said, took a little nibble here. I was very interested in the lower time frames. If we drill down to, say, like an hourly, you can see that they left some price gaps down here that needed filling. They've got this juicy tail down in here. We were talking about it on the site, I think a couple days ago. And this is, I would just simply work my bid at this gap. I was like, no problem. I'll go and take a shot off of that. Somebody in the level 1 program, while doing their homework, found this, which, again, is just awesome. I absolutely love this sort of communal working together. A good idea is a good idea is good idea as far as I'm concerned, guys. And of course, if I'm going to give you guys ideas, same thing. If you guys are going to give, me ideas, I want to be bringing ideas to you guys. But, I think it makes sense why, nibbles down against these lows are potentially working right now. Do we really have any sort of structural reasons for this thing to be bottoming in here? No. I mean, maybe we have the beginnings of a W. Who knows? If you want to just be nice and patient and just wait for a nice cleaning up here and just the market tell you that, hey, yeah, I'm bottoming, I'm ready to go, totally fine by me. And as I said, if I start to see this kind of action, then I might start, you know, adding in seriousness as opposed to nibbles and actually seriously taking some, you know, serious shots here. But for now, I'm, you know, in the higher time frame reload zone. We got a lower time reload zone, so RLZ within RLZ. We got gaps. We got nice tails to buy against. I like this idea. It's not bad. Okay. I think I'm probably done ranting for today. Does anybody have any coins they'd like me to look at? Fire away. No, none? Okay. I guess we're done. wait, slow down. Okay, I think I saw somebody say dot. Let's see what you got there. D-O-T. And is this Cryptopia? Haha, nice try. Okay, well, if anything, this is a perfect example of our shark. Can everybody see the shark? Shark, shark, shark. I'm a shark. Look at me. Shark, shark, shark. And it looks like there was a shark right here, too. Kevin, is Kevin here? Kevin, I bet you Kevin's all over this damn thing. But I kind of like, you know, and I don't know, this was probably one of those Bitterix delisting kind of things. But it looks to me like there's some sort of floor in the coin down here. And when I said shark, you know, you can also see there's a floor here. So what we like to do when we see market structure come in and why we give it the name shark is after you get the market structure in, draw your fib and see if you can sneak in there off the 78.6 tags. It's just like, it's shark trading. And it's quite remarkable how shocking it is. I don't know whether this actually lined up. Oh, so close. Look at that, eh? I mean, if you can get 78.6 fills here, and maybe we could even cheat and say, well, off of there, right? So, because there's your structure or there, whatever. I mean, look at those levels. That's ridiculous, right? That's why we like to call it the shark. And the interesting thing is you could probably do the same thing off of this massive rally. All right, I'm not even quite sure where we've used our floor, but you could have sharked this. Well, maybe we'll go off the lows. What the hell? Right, shark this, and you're buying on these massive dips against these lows here. And then, woohoo! This has got Ian written all over it. Ian, where are you? So Ian would be buying, selling, just chopping back and forth, just owning this thing. And all of you, right? I saw some gaps down on the lower time frames too also. Okay, but I would say, and this is a message I think is really important, especially in this venture cap space, but I really would say let's try and stick with the higher time frame charts to just make sure of trade location, okay? If you've identified trade location off of the higher time frames, then I think kind of like what we did with that last story, then you can drill down to the lower time frames and say, okay, well, based on the higher time frame trade location, does price action off the lower time frames actually make sense? And do you guys see here, you know, here is a reload zone. These dips, right? Some traders, especially new people to trading, this is just too high anxiety. Brian, I can't trade like this. This, number one, when they dip like this, it's just too gut-wrenching. I'm freaked out, right? And then it zips down, and I don't know what's going on here. Well, my advice to people that are just like, you know what, this is really volatile, it's really high anxiety, is just leave it alone. The cool part about this, guys, is it's your money. You tell the market what you want the market to look like if you're going to spend your money, not the other way around. The worst part about this game is that, and I see this whether it's crypto, whether it's S&P futures, whether it's crude oil, or whether it's Jeremy's favorite lunchtime snack. Broiler chickens? Isn't that your favorite lunchtime snack? Were you having fried broiler chickens this morning? With doubles, yeah. With a double side of muak. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point here is you tell the market what you want to see when you spend your money. I think here's a great example where, you know, maybe this is the reload zone, but you look at this and you go, Jesus Christ, this is up and down like a horse drawers. Excuse my French if anybody's got the kids watching. Does everybody see the very polite W's that started to come in down here? No W's here. Just straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, just up and down. Oh, my goodness. And then things started to calm down. And then we actually start getting like structural signals that just are in the exact trade location that we're looking for. And now we can actually start getting some levels to actually work with to help us frame what the risk is going to look like if we actually participate. Does that make sense, guys? I sure hope so. At least at this point, you know, with this low, this low, this low, this low, this low, if I buy this, then at least if I have my stop working below this low, then at least I can say, I've got this guy to defend me, this guy, these guys all to defend me, this guy, and if you need to review our concept of institutional fingerprints, it'll be a really good way for you to understand that every time the market tanks into these levels, somebody stops the bear. Those are those whales, institutions, smart money. So if I can identify a market structure where they've got a whole bunch of these lows where somebody came in and stopped the bear, then I've got these guys to defend my trade. My trade is my money working. And you can clearly see the market went up, triggered that level, played around, and they went after these lows. Get out of here. Boom. See you later. They went after these lows. Boom. Get your butt out of here. But notice that they ran out of steam after they were breaking so many lows. And they never came anywhere near to where we were going to risk down here. So that's why we use market structure, and it helps us frame the risk. Where will I know for certain that this setup is wrong? If I'm just going to buy V bottoms like this, how do I know where I'm right or wrong? And, you know, what ends up happening is more mature, more professional traders, they'll come up with preset stop limits. Well, I'm going to risk, say, like, I don't know, 20 sats or 20 ticks, whatever it is, if I buy here. And they're okay with taking that anxiety. This is, you know, just blindly buying orders or buying assets at levels is more advanced. It's more higher anxiety. So this is why when in my education programs, when I talk about the 3 reasons for having a trade, is it's going to make your life a little less anxious, a little easier for you to come to the market and do business on a daily basis. Hope that kind of helps you understand the significance of using market structure. Change my mind. NMR. All right. Oh, geez. Okay, so looking at this to finish off the dot story here, you can see higher time frame trade location. You can see when we drilled down to the lower time frames and we started to look at how price acted in here, we eventually found the market structure bottom. And you can see how that set up a trade. And, you know, range traders, what they're probably going to do. See, does anybody remember what is this simple tool that I suggest for all new traders to use for targeting? Anybody remember? What's a simple targeting tool that keeps you honest? Wow, nobody? Just no data yet. Weekly W's. No, the 50% rule. I even talked about it about a half an hour ago in this darn video. If you're going to start with a simple targeting tool, use the 50% rule. So, in this particular case, I can quantify exactly what my risk is if I take this W and what my potential reward is at the 50% level. 1.25? Nah, I'm not overly impressed with that risk-reward ratio. At the same time, I can fully understand, and some people are range traders, and they say, well, Brian, I think it's got a pretty good shot at making the reload short zone. So I'm going to use that. Let's use Mountain Man as my target. Well, 1.85. Well, we're starting to get into respectable territory. So the question ultimately here is, does anybody know in our lounge what is sort of the minimum I would ideally like for you to shoot for as a reward if you're going to take a risk in the market? Good. All right. We're seeing some answers from the basic site members too. Excellent. So really, I would prefer that you get into the habit of, all right, and then there's the smart ass answers. Thank you, Nico. And I would like for you to get into the habit of only considering trades where you can justifiably see at least a 2-to-1 risk reward. Then that way, at the very least, you're making your efforts in the marketplace worth your while. I see a lot of people, and it's a dangerous, dangerous trap to fall into. Their need to be right, their need to book winners, their need to see their account balance goes up gets them to start getting into the habit of, well, I really need to be right, so I'm going to take a profit here at 0.5 risk reward. This is a dangerous, dangerous path to go down, because you are, because remember, none of us are right 100% of the time. It just doesn't happen. So you are going to have to book losers. There will be trades where you have to take this 100% loss. And there's a danger in trading that to, keep your subconscious happy and book a whole bunch of winners, that you end up falling down this kind of path where you book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, and of the 5 trades, 4 are winners, but 1's a loser. You're 80% accurate. Look how smart I am. But do you guys see that you could actually have a situation where the one loser might end up offsetting? In this particular case, there's my profit margin. I worked my butt off for like 6 months hunting setups, but because I was happy with taking marginal profits to validate my ego, at the end of the day, this is my profit margin after all that work, just because I had one losing trade. So try, guys. It's really important. I can't stress this enough. In fact, this morning, I just sat and listened, because I like to do this. I'm still a student of the market. I sat and listened to the good doctor. Everybody, in fact, Garrett posted Dr. Menaker's latest offering in the lounge yesterday. Did everybody grab that? That stuff, guys, is gold. That stuff is worth more than, listening to Brian rant for an hour and 2 about charts. I mean, the doctor this guy taught, he works for billion-dollar hedge fund people. I'm just trying to find that link because it was so good. And I would recommend all of you, if you want to win at this game, you got to master the psychology of this game first, right? And actually, in the videos that I was doing for the library page here today, I'm new to the site and all that, I really tried to stress how important learning the process and the psychology of the process is, versus technical indicators and setups and stuff like that. Fletch, I can't find the darn link. Oh well, I'll find it later on. Oh, you got it? Awesome. Oh, I love you guys. So Garrett's got that right here for us. There it is.
My trading career, kind of through the back door. Didn't expect to.
Is this the same one that you posted yesterday?
a baseball player going up to the bat.
This looks different. Anyway, he's got a bunch of them on. I've included in the library page just because I think it's just very good stuff. There's one of his. He used to be sort of the in-house psychologist. Uh-oh, there goes my Google. But he used to be the in-house psychologist for the prop firm that I used to work for, this company called TopStep. So I think if anything, if you're going to take anything from today, man, this is trying to learn the psychology of this game and understanding the process. That's the key to winning at this game over the long term. Okay, sorry, went off on a crazy tangent there. What were we talking about? Cryptocurrencies or something like that? All right, so the DOD, what do you think? Oh boy, what the heck just happened here? Did I draw that? I don't know, that didn't just happen. Oh my goodness. Oh no. So I hope I didn't just generate that. Did somebody just come in and go, oh geez, I better get the heck out of here and just slam the bid there? Oh boy. Half of the time, in this is I wouldn't be surprised if somebody on Twitter, the Beamish effect, somebody on Twitter saw this and went, oh geez, so the price is up here in a reload zone, maybe I better hop off. And whoever asked about this maybe was like, let's see if we can get this idiot guy, and I don't even know who asked. Was it a site member? Was it somebody that I've never talked to before? Because this is an open, you asked about this, Mike? You asked about this? Was that you? Oh, okay. Well, there you go, dude. Do you see how they're just messing with the market here? Can you see this reload zone here? I mean, that's everything that we teach you in the program. It's right there, and absolutely, it's everything that we teach, right? And so I think you had said that off the lower time frames, there were some charts down below. Does it make sense if you were interested in buying this thing? What do you think I'm going to be doing here? You should know exactly what I'm about to draw here. Somebody finish in. The mouse is heading over to the tools. Where is he going? What's he going to get? What's he going to draw? I'm getting closer. Anyone? Anyone? No one? Hey, there you go. Jeremy got it. Hey, Daniel, 11-1er. Good. So, if I'm interested in being a buyer, where am I likely to be interested? What a coincidence. Good old line in the sand is literally the original breakout level. Isn't that incredible? I mean, it's almost sick when you see that. So I guess the way I would look at this is, clearly that trade's done. There is this big gap right here. That looks a bit bothersome, eh? And if you did want to be a buyer, well, reload zones within reload zones are awesome. In fact, we have one of the trade setups that we have in the library is reload zones within reload zones. I love that. So if you ever get like overlapping reload zones, it's just like trade location personified. If anything, do you see how there's some cheeky little gaps right down there? So I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, look at that, eh? So I could very easily see, kind of like the coins. Remember that one that we were buying yesterday with the gap down below? Really, in this game, you just got to be patient and disciplined. Oh, there's a gap down there as well. So, but I got a funny feeling, especially with two gaps like that. And keep in mind, this is Cryptopia, right? Cryptopia is an extremely thin marketplace. So it doesn't surprise me that in 5 minutes, boom, it gets slammed, right? This market is super, super thin. So if you are interested in buying this, I think we've painted a pretty good sort of trade location window for you to concentrate on, okay? It can, but be, very careful. Does it make sense that bag holders that are bag holders in thin markets are basically dead ducks? Yeah. Okay, I have no idea how long I've been talking. What do you think, guys? Was that kind of fun? Anybody learn anything today? Did anybody have their journal out? What did I learn today? I sure hope so. New people to the site. First you start, whoops, oh, I better open up the text thing because you guys, oh, look at that. You guys have been chatting up a storm. First you start as trader, then become investor, and end up as bag holder. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. If anything, what I like to, what we used to say as a broker is many a short-term trade turn into a long-term investment. We really don't want that to happen for us, so let's really obey our trading plans. You know, obviously risk management is critical here. If you're going to take this trade, don't go and throw like 30–40% of your money into this one trade. That's just asking for trouble. Try and the cool part about it now, guys, and anybody who's new to the site, just you want to learn this stuff, just go bury yourself in the library, or you know, get yourself enrolled in the school, and basically I'll hold your hand through the whole process of teaching you. ANS, you want us to look at ANS before we take off here? ANS. Oh, you're welcome. All right, what do we got here? Well, you know, probably it should be fairly simple for all of you guys when you look at a chart like this to know what Brian's probably going to say. It's probably pretty simple. I think probably we can see the old trading range. If we simply take a measurement off of that high, you don't necessarily need to go down off of that tail, but you know, definitely you can see there's a bottom of a range here. So, you know, there is your, do I have my sell orders in place? That's right. I should go back and look on the books just to make sure. And if anything, Jason, what you're seeing here is the expression of about 2 or 3 years, well, let's call it 2 years, of really hard work. This is the end result of whatever these people are doing, and they're getting paid for their hard work. So I don't think we can even really even consider this as an investment idea. Yeah, well, that scares me in itself because China, of course, is notoriously fraudulent. And really, I wouldn't be surprised if this has to get shaken out. And really, you know, hopefully everybody looks at this and goes, is that realistic growth? Is that healthy growth? Is that natural growth? Hopefully everybody looking at this goes, well, that looks a little bit too far, too fast. You know, and if we just leave it up to this sort of trading view template, we won't go through the whole process of squaring a chart because it's just too much of a pain in the butt. But if we actually ask what is sort of a natural growth rate, and I don't know if we can even find the lowest low here, it's probably off of that doji there. Something along those lines. If we actually look at that trading range, right, and we leave it up to TradingView to square the chart, that's sort of the natural growth rate. And we like to use this as a 8-to-1. Again, these levels are not squared. So, you know, don't get all upset at me if these aren't exactly accurate. I'm not going to get into that today. But, you know, even this is, you know, just based on what we're seeing here, this is the natural growth rate. This is the Gann square tool right there, Gann square. And I suppose we'll go through the whole thing here just to make sure everybody knows how to do this. What you really want to do is you want to try and make sure that price and time are relatively measured relatively equally. And it's a pain in the butt, don't get me wrong. But what we call it is squaring our charts. And so in essence here, I'm going to try and create an increment of 1.0 to 1.0. In this case, it's 0.000009, right? But in essence, I want to create it so that 1 unit of price equals 1 unit of time. This is what we call squaring our charts. So you got to go in and just make sure this is all tickety-boo. So 6, 4, so 9, 6, 8. And as you can see, based off of this, this is not a square. So what you have to do, and you know, TradingView does this a little bit differently. But you have to take your trend by angle tool. You have to draw a 45-degree angle. Right, then you have to go over to the price pane and you have to adjust the chart so that now can you see how price is squared. Where in essence now 1 unit of price is equal to 1 unit of time. Does that make sense? Max, you see this? This is what we do in the level 2 program. We spend 2 full weeks studying this. I'm just giving you a real crash course here. So now that we have our price and time squared, then we're going to go and lock our scale. Now watch what happens to the study now that price and time are squared. You see how it shifted like that? This is actually now the natural growth rate of this asset. And just an FYI, I like to put on here the 8-to-1 level. This is sort of Gann's ideal trade location tool. This is the natural healthy trend line, and this is sick ass trade location. And what do you think? Was that a sick ass trade? You know, the bottom line is the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? What do you think? Does anybody see that? Maybe you can't see that on my screen. That to me looks like one hell of a trade location. Anyone? Does anybody see this? I don't know. Am I still recording? I mean, hopefully you should all be going, wow. Anyway, so now we zoom out and let's see where price is relative to that natural trend line. So can you see that, you know, we're a bit pricey here, just this relative natural trend line. Who asked the question about this thing? ANS. Somebody asked about this. Jason. So Jason, do you see how just based off the natural trend growth, we are way, way beyond natural growth. C'est bien? So, you know, if you like using the Gann tool, really use that as a nice little crash course tutorial. Somebody was asking about a Gann tutorial earlier this morning. Boom, you just got it. Merry Christmas. I'm going to lock that in place so that study will stay exactly put. It won't move. But now I can go and actually make this chart usable. This study's been locked in place, but now can you see when we do things like reload zones, now you see that a reload zone would line up nicely with that 45-degree angle. See that? What do you think as trade location? Is this starting to look a little bit better for trade location purposes? Anyone? Guys, I hate to say it, right there, I just gave you like a $500 course on how to use Gann and Fibs to identify trade location. That right there is a sellable product, what I just did there for you. And everybody, and we just gave it out on the internet for free today. I wonder if any of these people that are watching this video are even going to appreciate how incredibly powerful that demonstration I was for you. Pretty stunning stuff. So, and the interesting thing is if we custom fit our chart to our screen, do you see how off the chart is relative to Mr. Gann? Mr. Gann would look at this and go, that's not a squared chart. What the heck is that? Right? That's why it's so important to have to go through that process of making sure your chart is squared to be able to draw these angles correctly. So anyway, all right, if anything, you know, that's probably a great note to finish this video on. That was a really good little tutorial there for you guys. So somebody asked for the screenshot. There it is. In fact, maybe we'll even throw it in the Site Lounge. If you want to throw that into your notes, what did I learn today? Journal entry. I'm sure everybody's got a nice little journal entry. What did I learn today? Okay, why don't we leave it at that? I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope the Twitter audience, the YouTube audience, all those people enjoyed this. Now you can sort of see what we do on a daily basis inside TRI. And hey, great to see so many people in the lounge, lots of interaction. And we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning for another exciting episode of Daily Brief, and of course, another exciting day of trading. So have yourselves a great afternoon, everybody. All the best. I'm off to Liam to go play on the beach. We'll talk to you all real soon. And bye for now.